perfectly normal. I didn't realize that there was nothing wrong with that. I was on a journey. I just figured like, hey, maybe I was not cut out to do this portion of it in computers. And that's how I really felt, and then I'm running into people that feel that way all the time, but I'm here to tell you that that's okay. You're still on your journey, which I'm still on the journey, right? So we go back to it. Hardware hacking didn't work out for me. Wireless hacking didn't work out for me. Now here's ARM assembly, and I'm just like kind of like all over the place, just still trying to figure it out. So I move on. Web app hacking. Now, web apps, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is something that I can get into. I built a web page before. I know basic HTML. I've understood just the basics of like JavaScript. I said, you know what? Let me just give this a try, right? Let me go to some security conferences, because at that time I wasn't heavy into. I don't even think Discord had started yet. It was just more so Slack. If it was Slack, or I even got on IRC. I was still on the IRC channels heavy back then as well too, with web app hacking. So I'm like, wow. Let me see what this is all about. And I just started asking some questions, just saying, hey, I want to learn how to hack web apps, which, that's a lot of times you might get some good feedback, might get some bad feedback, right? Again, I was super nervous about all of this. And I'm just like, wow, let me just keep going with this thing. And I stuck it out. I said, okay, I learned the basics of HTML all over again. I went through like various tutorials, watched YouTube videos, wrote custom websites just for myself. I didn't want to share it to the world because I didn't think it was good enough. I didn't think that I had found my passion yet, and I didn't share it. So now I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Okay, so I keep going though. For something in me, I couldn't put this down. I couldn't let this go. This was something I'm just saying, you know what? I like this. And then, long and behold, I found my first cross-site scripting bug. And I kind of like felt good about that, because it's like, man, maybe this is my passion. Maybe this is something that I really like and I really want to get into. So I kept going and I kept going. And long and behold, I came to a crossroad one day, and I just said, sometimes you get by yourself and you start thinking about many things that you've come across on your journey. And especially when you listen to music, that's when you really start thinking. It's like the quieter you are, the louder things start happening in your mind. So I was just like, you know what? Wireless didn't really work out too well. It was great while it lasted, but I couldn't hold on to that passion for it. Again, hardware, I didn't hold on to that passion for it. It was just too much. ARM assembly, I'm like, okay, the best I got was Hello World and a couple of other basic programs, and I didn't feel like I was able to kind of accomplish enough in that aspect. And now here's this web, and I have the passion, and I'm like, I don't want to let it go. I'm holding on to it for dear life, because here's the thing. I'm like, look, if this don't work, what am I doing here? That was my mindset at that time. I was like, okay, if this is not working, then what am I really doing here? Is this it altogether? But no, each day I woke up, it was something new. It was something new and exciting in the web space that I've never seen before. And it became more like an addiction to the web. Like there was always something new to explore. I felt like there was always something, and still to this day, it still is, but it was always something new that I wanted to explore. There were things that I wanted to look at, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So let me keep going, which I wound up doing. Started looking at programming languages, right? So I said, okay, cool. I got the grasp of HTML. I got the grasp of JavaScript in general. And then there was different levels of JavaScript. There was Angular, there was React. So I'm like, okay, what's the difference between React and Angular, and just going into that format. And again, like I talked about earlier, within the Cactus methodology, creative thinking. So as I'm going through this and trying to find my passion, and as we all know, when you have a passion for something, you get more creative because it's something that you really enjoy doing. You want to find different ways to make it do something cool. I know I do personally. So I was like, okay, cool. I learned this particular programming language. Let me see the differences between this one. So I kind of went into programming language frenzy at the moment. You know, I was just like, okay, this is cool. I like this over here. Let me try a little bit about this. Oh, I heard about this programming language called Haskell in Discord. Let me hop around a little bit and just play around with this stuff, right? And then I ran into Golang, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. But the thing I wanted to know is, did it work with the web? And I started doing research with that. And then, of course, people were doing cool things on the web with Golang, right? And I'm just like, wow. Then from there, and this is the language that I rock with to this day, and I love it because it's fresh, it's new, it's raw. And I kind of look at it as the Play-Doh language, Rust programming language, right? And most people, when I say Rust, they're like, well, Charles, isn't Rust like a system levels programming language? Correct, it is. But they do have crates that allow you to play with web APIs as well, too. So it does have some functionality on the web. Not as well as like a Python or a PHP or for that matter, Ruby, right? But it's baby steps. That's why I call it the Play-Doh programming language, because you can kind of try to mold it into something. It's a new project. You can just mold it into what you want it to become. Maybe one day I'll write my own crate. I'm getting there, but I'm just not there yet. And that's okay. Because again, this is something that I feel I'm on that journey. The passion hasn't died yet. I'm still rolling with it. I still got my creative thinking, ultimately with a smile. So I'm still going with this thing here. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Web is where it's at. You know what? I'm going to stay on this path of web. This is what I'm going to focus on. And I'm just going to keep doing endless research and keep learning endless things from other folks that's been in it a lot longer than me. However, and I'm just like, wow, this is cool stuff. The code that you see at the bottom there, I'm actually working on like a basic encoder, like just to kind of encode my like web payload. So when I'm attacking web applications, I'm actually just kind of doing like all-in-one encoder to where I'm actually doing like URL encoding, base64 encoding, or hex encoding. So that's been pretty exciting. So far, so good, right? Next up, I'm like, okay, what else is there about the web? And mind you, I'm still staying in the web space. And I was like, oh, so what do they have on browsers, like browser security and hacking in general and APIs? I'm like, oh. And then I ran across this project called Beef, the Browser Exploitation Framework project. And I'm just like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And then from there, I'm just like, okay, here we go. The passion is still going. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm learning more about the web application side. I'm learning more about the server side web apps. And then here's the browser. I'm like, oh, here we go. Another like, I'll say another path within the web that's carved out, right? So I'm like, wow. So again, tried out the Beef exploitation project, right? And I actually started talking with other folks who were actually working with this project and doing like browser hacking level stuff, of course, a lot longer than I have. So I started reaching out just to say, hey, what information, what should I be looking at when I'm looking at the browser? What, you know, can you give me a little bit of guidance? I don't want you to give me the answers, but I just want you to give me some guidance. I'm on this thing and I can't put it down. And I've got some great answers and some feedback from the community. They've been totally awesome. I'm hats off to them, and I'm enjoying this. So like it's still there. That passion is still there. It's still burning. I still love web, and I'm just like, okay, I can get with this. This is it. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been holding on to. And I say this to say the following, and this goes for if you're a threat hunter. If you're a threat hunter and that passion is still burning, please, I tell you, hold on to it, because again, this is all part of your journey. This is the story that you're writing, and when you're going through this and you really enjoy it, you become, not only you become better at it, but again, you start exercising those creative thinking skills. You start doing more creative things because you're passionate about it. You know, the Cactus methodology for today, right? So with browser hacking, I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And I started getting into that, started looking at why I started looking at the OWASP like framework, right? And just started looking at that and the BERT methodology, started going all over Portswigger, reading their articles, paying attention to if somebody tweeted something out related to hacking webs, whether it's cookies, tokens, anything with the web or in general. And I was like, oh, this is interesting stuff. So I kept going, and still, which we're going to talk about here, it bleeds into Web 3.0, right? So I'm here to say live that my passion is the web, period. Anything related to the web, whether it's apps, browsers, and we're going to talk about crypto security here. Cryptocurrency security. And I'll tell you why, because that kind of bleeds into what I'm talking about when it comes to like web applications and hacking on the web and everything else. At first, I said, all right, I know this just came up, but this is something totally different. I said, let me see what it's all about, but I'm not giving up my passion here. This is my baby right here. I found my passion. This is everything. There's still so much to do in this space, from learning the security of APIs, hacking APIs, and where the web is going in that direction, as far as like with cloud APIs in general. And I'm just like, okay, I don't care what happens in the cryptocurrency space. I'm not giving up on the web at all. I found my passion. This is where I stand right now, and I'm here with it. So I did a little bit of research and found out that they use DApps, like in the crypto space. They use DApps, and you need like the MetaMask. I was looking at the MetaMask wallet, which is a browser extension, which relates to browser hacking, which opens up a new can of worms, a new toy that I want to look at. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is cool stuff. I said, you know what? Passion's on fire again. You ever been at a campfire and that fire may get a little bit low, but you put a new log on it and boom, you got it. You got your fire back, right? So here I am with the cryptocurrency security, and I'm like, wow, I put another log on the fire. Still got my passion, still got my baby, still doing creative things in the web space. And now looking at cryptocurrency and Web 3.0 to add into the space, to add into what I'm already doing when it comes to web. I say this to everyone here today. If you're sitting in the audience and you haven't found your passion yet, that's okay. I chose to talk about this today because I wanted someone out there to see that they're not the only one that hasn't found their passion yet. And they do have a chance, because I'm living proof, to find your passion and something that you're passionate about. So take this with a grain of salt. Definitely don't give up. Definitely keep pushing in the right direction. And if you're feeling like you've lost your fire a little bit, reach out to someone. I'm live here saying my DM is open as well too. If you're looking to talk about anything related to finding your passion, because again, I have a passion for people. I'm always willing to help someone who's looking to help themselves. And again, here's what I'm just showing you here with the blockchain layer. I forgot to add this in here. As you can see at the top, I'm all about the application layer when it comes to DApp browsers and DApps in general. And even with you see with the application hosting or whatnot. So I just wanted to point that out. But this is huge. I challenge everybody today. If you haven't found what you're looking for, please continue finding it. Always remember, what doesn't challenge you, don't change you. Greatness awaits you. I want you to go out there and go get it. When you're attending the other talks today, always keep that Cactus methodology in the back of your head, you're continuously, constantly thinking creative thoughts. You want to keep doing that. Now, whether you smile or not, I don't have no control over that. But ultimately, with a smile, just kind of helps a little bit. Well, actually, a lot. And I just wanted to shout out a couple of things here. These are things that I actually like do on my off time. The battlegrounds, and that's with a lot of my friends from college, where we just go back and forth about music. Of course, the Or Not podcast, the Off the Record podcast, where I get my sports resource. Hacking Your Health. I'm pretty sure some of you are in the Discord channel there. Mental Health Hackers, which shout out to them, my goodness. And CoinSec podcast, which is fairly new. Well, they've been around for quite some time. They're fairly new to me and near and dear to me. And last but not least, I've got to shout out the Positively Blue Team podcast. We do have an episode coming very soon. If you have some time on your calendars, definitely check us out. We talk about different subjects there related to positive, not only positive stuff, but just anything related to tech in general. Any questions?
Anyone in the room has questions, pass around the mic. We'll be able to hear you, no problem. Let's see if we have anything in Discord.
Hi, I was wondering, can you please put that screen back up that you had, or the slide that you had with the resources?
For crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you.
That back up there. There we go. Yeah, these are some of the resources that I've found so far. It's pretty good information, and also a great resource is the CoinSec podcast. I do have them in. I know this might be a wild word to say right now at my Spotify, but yeah, I do have. I have them queued up. I always listen to. They give some great information, and they give great resources as well. They're also on YouTube, by the way, too. So shout out to those folks there as well. Any more questions?
One comment from the Discord. Everyone wanted to let you know they really appreciate your daily Twitter posts.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. You know, again, I try to ramp up, like, since of the pandemic in general. I just wanted to just put something out there that, you know, people could just like really enjoy and, you know, get something out of it. And I just don't, I have a passion for people. So I don't want people just to just say, you know what, everything in the world is negative. So I chose just the positive route, just to stay and keep everybody on, help keep in general. So thank you. I truly appreciate it. Any more questions?
I think that is it from the room here in Arizona, and I don't see any more questions coming in from Discord.
Well, once again, I just want to say I love y'all all. Please live it up and enjoy the day. Get fired up for CactusCon 10, y'all. Y'all here. We in person. Some of us are in person, some of us is hybrid. I want you to get fired up and get out there. Go chase greatness. And once again, lend a kind word to one another. We're all in this pandemic together. Let's go out and be great together. I love y'all all. Yep.